Hey everyone, hoping everyone is good, hoping everyone is great. We are on the second part of attachment styles, and today we're going to talk about two, which are the secure attachment and the fearful avoidant attachment style, and this one is also known as the disorganized attachment style. Now I want to reiterate again that the purpose of learning these attachment styles is not that we can label anyone, to label yourself, to judge anyone, or to judge yourself, or excuse any kind of harmful behavior. The purpose of this is just awareness. Because once you understand why you move the way that you move, why certain things trigger you, why some relationships feel safe and others make you panic, then you begin to understand yourself with more compassion instead of having criticism. And when you also understand the people around you, it becomes very easy to stop taking everything so personally. Because sometimes the way people love has very little to do with you and everything to do with what they learned in love or what it was supposed to feel like. So I want to start off with the secure attachment. Now, the secure attachment is considered the most healthiest attachment style. And it's, a person who is someone who is generally, comfortable with closeness. They provide and are also open to emotional intimacy, vulnerability, and they are more likely independent. And for them, they don't panic when someone loves them. And they don't panic when someone needs space. They just understand the duality of what that looks like. They know how to give love without losing themselves in it. And they know how to also receive love without distrusting it. So what it looks like in real life is that a securely attached person, they're not the people that, they don't have it all together, for sure. But they don't have insecurities. If they had wounds, they have worked through them. They'll also have, moments of overthinking, just like we do. But they don't let it get them to the point where they're at a place in which it makes them panic. They still have their bad days, but the difference is that their emotions do not completely control the way that they relate to others. And a secure person can communicate when something bothers them instead of shutting down or exploding or, playing games. A great example of a person who has a secure attachment style is, they'll speak up for themselves. They'll say something like, you know what, in that conversation or what you said, you hurt my feelings. They're very direct. And they'll ask with the follow-up, can we talk about this? They'll also say in a conversation, I need some reassurance on something right now. I need some time to think before I respond. What they're doing is they're setting the groundwork. Number one, they understand emotionally how they're tied to themselves. The second thing is, because they understand themselves, they don't allow certain situations go above their head. So they address them head on, and they're also emotionally aware. They're emotionally aware enough to recognize what they're feeling without making everyone responsible for regulating it. I want you to understand that. They don't make people responsible for regulating their emotions, and securely attached people trust that if there is an issue, it can also be addressed. Now, they also don't automatically assume that conflict means abandonment. They do not immediately think that any kind of distance means that they are being rejected. And they also do not feel the need to manipulate anybody's closeness, because they trust that healthy love does not require any type of games. They are the ones who are very considerate of people's time, the way that people show up, the way that people behave, because again, they have an emotional security within themselves that it doesn't cause them to overthink in any kind of situation. Now, how does a secure attachment normally develop? Well, the caregivers set the precipice for how they show up. Their caregivers were emotionally available enough when they were children. When they needed comfort, they had parents or grandparents, someone who looked after them that was immediately there. When they expressed an emotion, they weren't punished for having that emotion. When they made a mistake, they were corrected with love instead of giving anger or disappointment. And when people cared for them, it felt like stability and it felt like it was safe. And because of that, when they enter into their adulthood, they believe that connection can be healthy, and they do not automatically associate any type of love with pain. And they do not believe they must have to earn someone's affection by suffering for it. And one would say that in romantic relationships, a secure person is one of the best to have, but a person with a secure attachment style would work well with someone who also has a secure attachment style. Again, there's a knowing within themselves. They like to show you exactly who they are. And if something is wrong, they bring it up. And if you need some type of reassurance, they will ask and ensure that whatever you're asking for, that they will do. If they need boundaries, baby, they are good at setting them. Now, all of this, it doesn't mean that anyone who has another attachment style can't get to this. They're, again, just emotionally available. They're very wise in the way they choose their relationships, and they're very aware of people's behavior. They also understand that relationships have 3 foundations: communication, trust, and consistency. And they can be close to someone without being so consumed by them. Now in friendships, these people are very dependable. They communicate very clearly. They don't, this is the number one thing. They don't assume the worst thing when someone becomes distant or don't answer the phone or doesn't answer a text. They just understand that life be happening and perhaps they are busy. They also understand that people can love them and still be busy. They understand that, a missed phone call does not mean a betrayal to their friendship. And they tend to maintain balanced relationships because they do not need constant validation to secure any type of that bind. And so in parenting, you will see that they allow their children to express themselves. They discipline, but they do it without any kind of cruelty. They correct behavior without attacking their identity. And instead of making a child feel ashamed of their emotions, they help them to understand their emotions. So again, this is why this attachment style is perhaps the most sought after, where we want to get to in the space of our lives, because there is a security there. Now, it does not mean that they are perfect, but they are aware of who they are, and they're also aware of other people. So the space to give grace in their walk with other people and themselves makes them a most likely candidate to be a great partner and a good friend. Now, let's go into something a little bit deeper, much opposite of this attachment style, and it's called the fearful avoidant or the disorganized attachment style. Now, this one is really complex because it carries not only anxiety, but it also had avoidance. And it shows up in people who they really, really want love, but they're afraid of it. Whether that had been from previous circumstances, something that they lived through, or just their feeling that they have the inability to give love. They want affection, but to articulate it, they can't do it. They want connection, but to have it, they feel like they can't feel it. When someone starts to love them on a consistent basis, they begin to distrust it. And these are the people who will easily try to fall back, right? If they get an inkling of someone caring for them, it feels good in the moment. But the more and more they begin to think about it, the more they begin to back up because it becomes overwhelming to them. And it is a contradiction because they want it, but they also move away from it, and it confuses a lot of people around them, and they find themselves most likely by themselves. Now, the development of this attachment style often comes from, an inconsistent, chaotic, painful, or traumatic caregiving experience. The most awful would be to have a parent who may be addicted to drugs, who showed up sometimes or pulled back. Inconsistent parenting in the way that they showed love, where perhaps they only did it when they felt like it, but didn't give it to them in a consistent manner. And so with this, it causes a confusion. Should I love them? Should I be loved? Am I worthy of being loved? Or should I just kind of ride the wave? They are the type of people who they question whether someone's affection means that they're trying to manipulate them. They are afraid that if they're vulnerable and open with someone, that they will be punished. And because their household was so unpredictable, they don't know how to show up for other people, not even themselves. So on an emotional matter, fearful, avoidant people, they seem to overanalyze everything. They may question everybody's motives all the time. They may struggle, trusting genuine affection, because anything that looks like chaos feels more familiar than having to sit in peace. They are the people who are used to a whole bunch of noise around them, perhaps had parents who argued or fussed all the time, or grew up in a household of siblings who stayed at each other's necks. The chaos was what they learned, and to sit by themselves in peace feels like, this is a little strange. This is a little weird. And so anybody who provides peace in their lives, they want to run because they feel like the person who has the peace challenges something in them, and again, they pull back. And the scary thing about this as well is that because they unconsciously trust anything that looks dysfunctional more than anything that looks consistent, that is what is familiar to them. So they are sometimes the type of people who will start an argument out of nothing, because everything could be going smooth, but because they are so used to dysfunction, they will take one small thing and turn it into something really big, because something about the dysfunction makes it feel normal for them. And peace for a person who is an avoidant can also feel like this experience for them is boring, so they gotta shake it up a little bit. Their nervous system cannot stay in a space of peace. It's almost like, let me try to explain it this way. Let's use this for an example. I'm sure everyone knows someone who is always on the go. Every time you turn around, they're taking a trip here, or their job is taking them there, or they're working, traveling, all of the things, right? And so the motion causes them to be used to the ins and outs and the ebbs and flows of their ordinary life. But the moment that they're not able to travel or work the way that they do, it becomes boring, and it's an irritant towards them. And so sitting by themselves, they try to find ways to tinker or something to get involved in, because they've not had a space to sit still. This is comparative to someone who has a fearful, avoidant attachment style. The chaos and all of everything that is incongruent that has kept them going feels so familiar that when it's a place of peace and a place of love and consistency, they don't know what to do with that. They want to run. And so to stay idle in that, not only do they have to look at themselves, but it's like trying to get out of these clothes that don't fit. Now in relationships, here's where it gets really, really sticky. In these romantic relationships, people who are fearful avoidance, they often struggle in relationships because they like the chase of a relationship. They like the idea of someone wanting them. But then the moment that person becomes close, they draw back. So when the person does draw back, they're the people who will become manipulative, okay, to try to get their attention. You ever seen someone or known of someone like when I was checking for you, you wasn't checking for me, but the moment that I checked out, now you checking for me again. That's kind of like what the fearful avoidant person does. They liked the fact that you were there for them, but the moment that they realized that you was out, now they go to chasing you only to chase the high of what you had and the calamity of what needs to show up for them. So in a stable state, they won't be stable, if that makes sense. Because again, they love the offering of love, connection, and attention up to a certain type of span. But once that is the consistency, it feels very, very foreign to them and it becomes boring. So they'll mix up something in the relationship. And like I said before, they'll go into arguing. They'll do nitpicky things in order to take you off of your peace because they need to argue. They'll mix up things emotionally because this is what they are used to. They'll do something like the moment that distance is created, they will try to see if you will come in and close that gap. They may shut down during any kind of conflict where you ask them to be vulnerable, and they'll never open up. It'll take them a while to open up. They want to, but it feels so unsafe that they can't allow themselves to do so. And it really mirrors the same thing in friendships. They struggle to just be open fully. And they may keep people close while also being emotionally guarded. They will isolate when they feel overwhelmed. They may assume that rejection, if they were rejected before, it will happen again, and so therefore they will distance themselves. And sometimes they really want community, but they struggle with trusting people that they have a genuine care for. And in parents who are fearful avoidance, they may struggle with emotional inconsistency. Again, they show up nice, and then the next day they show no love because this is what they have been used to. It doesn't mean that they don't love their children. It's because they have unresolved wounds, and that can make the emotional regulation very, very difficult. I always say, if we don't have the tools to fix something, we'll keep doing the same thing over and over again, not being aware of what tools we need to use to fix it. And if a parent who is fearful avoidant, to have no one to challenge them, they'll still continue the same loop of showing up the way that they are towards everybody in their lives, to their children especially. And what happens with this is they also run the risk of having children who will show up in relationships and friendships as a fearful avoidant as well. Now, I've said this once, and I'll say it again, that your attachment style is not finite. So if you recognize that there is an attachment style that is definitely yours and there are some changes that need to be done, the first thing is naming exactly what it is. And again, this is not judgment. This is the truth. And sometimes the truth hurts so bad, like we don't want to feel it, or we don't want to name it, or we make excuses as to why it shows up that way. But when we detail exactly how we show up in our attachment styles, it teaches us, number one, there are some parts that we need to regulate in order to show up better. And then also underneath that, there are some wounds that we perhaps did not heal. No one is going to be perfect in any type of situation, whether it be a relationship, a friendship, or a familyship. You won't always get it right, but we all know our vices. We know what we struggle with. We know how we shut out or how we show up. And we also know consciously things that could be better, that we could be doing. And I say most importantly, in order to heal aspects of you, you got to stop defending your patterns and you got to start examining them. And you also have to find yourself in a space of being and wanting to be emotionally safe. Number one, to yourself. And then secondary with someone else, you also have to be very self-aware of who you are. And also being able to stand next to someone and also know that when they're saying something in love, not to put you down, that they are calling in something that they're experiencing from you. You also have to be ready to be consistent in your own life and be consistent with others. Again, accountability is the biggest word. We all know what our vices are, what we struggle with. Be accountable to yourself before you expect anyone to be accountable to you. And also learning that in every attachment style, vulnerability is only a weapon if you discern that the person that you are next to you can't trust. But if there are people who are really offering you love, who have shown you time and time again that they are secure, that there's a safe space there, that they're wanting for you to open up and be vulnerable, is because they want you to know that they are your safe space and they want to understand layers about you that they see. And in no way, in any way that we experience life, I want you to understand that nobody is difficult to love unless there is an inability to not love. You are not broken. I always say that. We have to stop putting a name on something. You are not broken and you are never too much. We have all learned survival patterns that protected us from some things that we were afraid of. If your fear was disappointment, then you build a fence around anything that looks like it's going to disappoint you. If you struggle with love and someone has broken your heart severely before, well, you will build a fence around your heart. Prevention many times saves us from a lot of things, but we also have to understand that we still have to open up from time to time in order to experience. Because when you are closed, you also close all the experiences, good experiences, that come along with it. And so we have to unfold the moment that we recognize that we're still exhibiting the same behaviors and the same patterns that cause us not to show up as our best self. In no way will we ever be perfect. The goal is to be aware of who you are. It's to understand yourself enough that you stop perhaps bleeding on other people who did not cut you. It's to recognize that your wounds are what they are, so you can stop showing up in your survival instincts and your personality traits. The goal that I want for you is to build relationships where the love that you want feels very safe and it's mutual and it's honest for you. The other part is recognizing that any type of love, anything that you label as love must show up healthy and feel safe and not be riddled in confusion. It should not cause you any kind of anxiety or emotional turmoil. Love does not embody those things, and that comes from loving yourself, and it also comes in relationship to other people. Any type of love that is healthy feels safe enough for you to be honest and for people to be honest with you. It is safe enough for you to be vulnerable and for people to allow you to be vulnerable in their space, and it's also enough for you to be peaceful. And I want to leave you with this as well. If peace is unfamiliar to you, my baby, that may simply just mean that there's still some healing required for you to do. Okay? All right. Just a last minute, little church announcement, my baby. If you are in any of the cities near, I'd love to see you. Listen, we got a whole little tour lined up. So the tour, let me say this gently, my baby, starts off April 28th and the 30th. That starts in Atlanta, Georgia. That is a sold out show. But I still have tickets for St. Louis. So if you're around the St. Louis area, that one is May 29th. Chicago is May 31st. That one is sold out. Nashville, Pittsburgh, Philly, and New York have been added. Nashville is June 15th. Baby, I can't wait to get to Nashville. So if you are near, oh goodness, come on, let's sell these tickets. Pittsburgh is June 17th. I would love to see y'all in the building as well. Listen, I don't know what's near Pittsburgh, but I love to see your faces. Philly, I love Philly. I have been to Philly once, and when I say that the love in that place is beautiful, it feels very reminiscent to Atlanta. And Philly is known as the place of brotherly love, is the city of brotherly love. Baby, I felt it when I was in that space. So I feel so excited to be in Philly. Philly, that date will be August 16th. And the last is going to be New York, August 18th, and I'm excited about New York as well. I've visited New York a couple of times just for vacation, and I'm excited to be there because anytime that there is an event posted, I have people from New York. What about New York? What about New York? So we are here. I'm excited for this tour. This is my very first show that I will be. Hey, it's going to be an experience. I have been fully fledged into ensuring that this is an experience rather than a performance. Yeah, I'm going to say that again. It's an experience more than a performance. So it is some storytelling, and it's definitely some poems. They're interwoven so that you can just sit in the space and feel the intentionality and the words being said. So I hope to see you there. I hope to get me some hugs, my baby. You can purchase those tickets, www. Now that's a lot of W's. Hold on. www. There you go. .seasondialogue.com. And for Philly and New York and Nashville, those tickets will be on the website. I'm sorry, they are already on the website, but the tickets go on sale Friday, April the 17th. Yes. Now they'll go on sale Friday, April the 17th. And I'm excited. I am praying and hoping for all sold out cities. I know for sure that Chicago is going to need a second show. So I'm checking to see when I can come back to Chicago, because the dates were so tight with some of the events that were already going on with the City Winery. I hope to do a second date for that. Philly, I hope to do a second date for y'all. It depends on the selling of the tickets. I'm excited. I'm happy. There are going to be some meet and greets in some of these cities. I'm bringing my books, and I'm bringing other things as well. But most of all, I'm bringing my intention. And baby, I am looking forward to some hugs. All right. Until next time, my babies. I'll see you next week.